Good evening, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this evening, body of woman found in canal in Spanish Town. A police investigation is now underway into a case of suspected drowning in the vicinity of Port Henderson Main Road in Spanish Town, St. Catherine on Friday. The deceased has been identified as 51-year-old Diva Wallace Harvey of Lime Tree in the parish. It is reported that about 8:30 a.m., passers-by stumbled upon the body of a woman floating in a canal and summoned the police. The scene was examined and the body was removed. A post-mortem is to be conducted. 2 men fatally shot by police in Riverlea, Spanish Town. A late-night confrontation between the police and the 2 men in Riverlea, Spanish Town, St. Catherine on Friday ended in tragedy as both the men were fatally shot. The incident occurred around 9 o'clock when cops engaged the men during an operation in the area. The police say they seized 2 firearms, a Smith & Wesson pistol with a magazine containing 2 9mm rounds and a shotgun. The men killed in the exchange have been identified as Marco Miller, also known as Izzy, and Alex Philippot, also known as Tubby, both of Bucktown in Riverlea. It is reported that a team of police were on patrol in the area when the action of the men aroused their suspicion. The police reportedly called out to them, and the men fired shots and ran towards the river in the further enclosed area. The police reportedly pursued the men, but when they reached the river, the team was reportedly attacked by a man with a rifle. The team shouted police. The man reportedly fired and a shootout ensued, during which he was hit and the gun seized. The police said that the team observed the door of a house opened, and upon entry, a man was seen with a gun, which he reportedly pointed at the cops. He was shot by the police and the weapon seized. The Police's Inspectorate of Professional Standards Oversight Bureau and the Independent Commission of Investigations are conducting separate probes into the shooting. Police trainee gunned down in Portmore. The police in St. Catherine are searching for a gunman who fatally shot a police trainee in Greater Portmore last night. The deceased has been identified as Roisin Nelson, a 32-year-old student constable of a Greater Portmore address. It is reported that about 11:30 p.m., Nelson went to transport a relative to an event. He was seated in his Toyota Fielder motor car when he was pounced upon by a gunman who opened the fire, hitting him in his upper body. He was assisted to the Spanish Town Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. No motive has been established for the fatal attack. The Portmore Criminal Investigation Branch is probing the matter. 8-year-old victim of Territory Lane massacre remembered as intelligent and outspoken. Aiden Bartley, the 8-year-old boy who was among 8 people killed in the Territory Lane massacre in 4 parts of Clarendon, was today remembered by his family as intelligent, outspoken, and remarkably brilliant. Aiden's aunt Nardika Phillips delivered a heartfelt remembrance at his funeral on Saturday at the Ebenezer Baptist Church in 4 parts. Phillips told the gathering that they shared a special bond and that he was like a son. She shared with the congregation his aspiration of becoming a soldier. With a hint of a smile, she noted that Aiden had already mastered the stoic demeanor after sporting a serious face that left a lasting impression. Phillips recalled Aiden's encounter with members of the Jamaica Defense Force in his community, sharing on one occasion they stopped and engaged in a conversation with him and even placed him in the back of the Jeep, his best day ever. He was very passionate about becoming a soldier in the future. Whenever he saw soldiers passing by, he would shout, "Soje!" They would wave, and he would wave back, and he'd say, "Yeah man, I'm a friend that," Phillips added, evoking laughter among the congregants. Sergeant Dean Clover, in his tribute, urged the parents to instill discipline in their children and refrain from condoning their wrongdoings, stating, "Because of those who committed the crime are children of others, and as a parent, we need to understand that if it continues, at some point, we are going to cry as well." For his part, Aiden's cousin Romaine Morrison, who is the counselor for the Moko Division in Clarendon North Central, lamented Jamaica's broken systems, which he said contributed to the heinous crime which saw 9 other persons being injured. They say I'm part of the system and that the system failed my family, Morris said, his voice waning as he spoke. How could I be part of a system and I'm seeing my cousin Aiden's mom crying and my little cousin Aiden in a casket, he questioned. Little Aiden was interred at his family plot in 4 parts. 21-year-old charged with goat farmer's murder. A man will now face the court after being charged with a slew of offenses related to the 2021 shooting death of a farmer in St. Catherine. Charged is 21-year-old Jadon Wilson, otherwise called J-Bad, of Caymanas Estate in the parish. Wilson has been charged with murder, possession of a prohibited weapon, unauthorized possession of ammunition, and wounding with intent. The deceased is a 40-year-old Kevin Morris, otherwise called Kill Bill, a goat farmer from the community. Reports are that on Monday, May 3, 2021, around 8:40 p.m., Morris and another man were at his home when Wilson and an accomplice allegedly pounced on them, armed with guns, and opened fire. Both men sustained gunshot wounds and were transported to the hospital, where Morris was pronounced dead and the other man was admitted in serious but stable condition. The police said an investigation was launched and Wilson was apprehended on Friday, September 6, 2024. He was charged following a question and answer session conducted in the presence of his attorney. Wilson is scheduled to appear before the St. Catherine Parish Court on Friday, September 27. His accomplice is currently being sought by the police. Kaka charged with a woman's murder. A man believed to be among a group of gunmen who shot and killed a woman along Nelson Road in Kingston on Wednesday, June 26, has been charged with murder. Charged is a 30-year-old Romario Grant, otherwise called the Kaka of the community. The deceased has been identified as 59-year-old Irene Leng, also of the community. In addition to Leng's murder, Grant has also been charged with possession of a prohibited weapon, possession of prohibited ammunition, and using a firearm to commit a felony. Reports are that around 7:35 p.m., Leng was sitting on a chair at her gate when gunmen, traveling in a Toyota Probox motorcar, pounced upon her and opened a fire, hitting her. The police were alerted, and upon their arrival, Leng was found with gunshot wounds. She was taken to the hospital, where she was pronounced dead. A report was made to the police, and Grant was later arrested following investigations. His accomplices are currently being sought by the police. Ministry of Education intervenes at a Portland school where boy was assaulted by schoolmate. The Ministry of Education has asserted that the required intervention is being provided at the Portland-based school where a 12-year-old boy was seen physically assaulting another boy on the compound of the institution. The boy was charged on Wednesday with assault occasioning bodily harm. He is to be brought before the Children's Court. According to Anake Magnus Watson, National Coordinator for Health and Family Life Education in the Ministry of Education and Youth, the ministry has launched an investigation into the incident. The initial reports suggested that the assault stemmed from a game the boys had been playing, she disclosed on Friday. In the 47-second video clip, which has been making the rounds on social media, the 12-year-old was seen shoving, punching, and kicking the other boy. Mrs. Magnus Watson added that the school, which was the site of the physical assault, will have to review its safety and security policy to ensure students are supervised at all times.
It was one of those games where, if you sit down and you don't say a word or you don't join your hands or something like that, you get what they call like a conk or a knuckle to your head. And, we don't support any kind of game with any kind of violence, and we need our children, to understand the impact of something like this. We're seeing it here. So the young man refused to play the game any further, and it escalated into this because this incident happened during lunchtime and the children must be supervised at all times. But most importantly, all of the children involved will need psychosocial support The school does not have a guidance counselor, so they get support from a guidance counselor at a neighboring school. That will continue, and the guidance and counseling unit will also be monitoring the institution very closely to provide support. But the children will also be referred to Child Guidance Clinic and the Ministry of Justice's Victim Support Division as well. We partnered with JCF as usual, and they are actually going to be going into the school to do some safety and security sessions with the students, talking about respect and play and conflict resolution and those areas.
Thank you everyone for watching. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for another news update.